as a county, has a population of 4.4 million, roughly, and our focus here is on CBD, which has a daily transit population of 500,000 people. The county has a total of 18 public toilets, which are located in high traffic zones. This was a descriptive cross-sectional study and our quantitative data collected was collected using structured questionnaires, interviews, and spot checks. Then was later analyzed using SPSS. A total of 298 respondents from 4 purposively selected toilets, which is Railways, Public Toilet, Latema Road Public Toilet, Accra Road, and Temple Road. Sampling was based on foot traffic and location. The people who were interviewed were adults of 18 years and above, who were observed using these facilities, were mentally sound and gave informed consent. On to the study outcomes. So there's an overwhelming dissatisfaction despite usage. 89.3% have used public toilets. This demonstrates public toilets are not merely supplementary amenities, but critical infrastructure for the residents. Unfortunately, 70.8% are either dissatisfied or very dissatisfied due to the persistent challenges, and only 9.4% are satisfied. These low ratings emanate from service failures which erode trust when toilets lack reliability and hygienic conditions. Negative experiences were a norm, and 70.5% confirmed having encountered these negative experiences. 38.3% cited mismanagement, 23.5% noted unhygienic conditions, and these unhygienic failures are linked to illnesses which deter usage. Other negative norms that were cited were insecurity, lack of water, long queues, wet floors, etc. Still on the outcomes, we noted that usage was motivated by circumstances and not choice. So emergency use was at a high, which was 57.7%. This dominated daily use. Daily use was quite low at 6.7%. This signals a gap between recognition and practical accessibility of the public toilets. On this, toilets are now seen as a last resort and not a trusted infrastructure. And in most circumstances, people avoid it due to the common high risks. Still on the outcomes, we also checked on what shapes usage decisions, and accessibility was at a high of 29.5%. Cleanliness was at 15.8%. So we also noted that as much as accessibility was at 29.5% and cleanliness at 15.8%, trust is what majorly advised user decisions. There was also coping behaviors, which largely reflected system failures. 43.6% resorted to using private facilities. 32.6% were seeking other public options, like other public toilets, and an alarming 12.4% had to hold it in, thereby risking their health. There was governance versus community responsibility, and 71.5% support collective maintenance, but 20.5% demand government leadership. This reflects global evidence that community actions fail without state support. Okay. So in conclusion, there's need to rethink urban sanitation in Nairobi. Knowledge is not the problem, access is. Over 90% recognize public toilets as essential to health, equity, and city functionality. Attitudes reflect resignation and not satisfaction. 70% and more report dissatisfaction and negative experiences in use of public toilets. The last conclusion is that willingness to pay is not equal to ability to pay. Affordability remains a barrier as pricing models exclude the poorest, undermining dignity and public health.
Thank you, Brenda. This mic is Let's appreciate Brenda for her presentation. Now what we are going to do, we are going to take 3 presentations. If you have any questions for Brenda, she'll be here. You'll ask. After 3 presentations, you'll have all those 3 being asked questions. We need to, is Kipkorir, is it Kipkorir? Ngetich? Is he in the house? No? Kipkorir? If Kipkorir is not in the house, Ayub Kitonga? Ayub Kitonga, no? Victor Mugambi? You have 10 minutes. Starting. You're not set up yet. Where is it? Is it working? It's not working yet. I think you might just end up presenting the way Brenda did. But make sure you have contact with the people. Don't just read the screen. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Yes, so good morning. My name is Victor Mugambi. I'm a master's student pursuing MSc in water and sanitation. So my research topic is evaluating effectiveness of sugarcane waste biochar in the purification of grey water. So for my introduction, I'm going to define the main terms in my topic. The first term is grey water. So grey water is basically wastewater that comes from our households, which does not include wastewater from our toilets. The wastewater from our toilets is called black water. So examples of grey water are, we have wastewater from our car washes, from our bathrooms, and from the kitchens. And I'll define the term biochar. So biochar is a charcoal-like substance that is obtained from the pyrolysis of organic materials. And from a research done by UN Waters, 44% of domestic water is not safely managed. This is this is according to UN Water, and this project is going to ensure that we purify this water before we release it to the environment. So from the statement of the problem, a lot of wastewater from our households contributes to environmental pollution, and this untreated water can lead to problems like waterborne diseases such as cholera and bilharzia. So also this project is going to ensure that we reuse and recycle wastewater to address the issue of water scarcity. So my general objective is to examine the effectiveness of sugarcane waste biochar in the purification of grey water from domestic and car wash effluents. For the methodology, the method used for data collection was experimental. Water samples were collected and analyzed in the chemistry laboratory.
in the room, please.
Good afternoon. I'm Leah Wangari, master student in sanitation, and my co-authors is Dr. Erastus Mwangi and Dr. Jane Beria. My topic is assessment of shallow well water quality in relation to well distance from the pit latrine, a case study of Moiben sub-county in Uasin Gishu County. I found that the informal settlements in sub-Saharan urban areas are heavily rely on the shallow wells, and these wells lack protection, hence they are susceptible to contamination, and this contamination is mainly from the surface runoff and also from the infiltration through the soils into those shallow wells. My objectives were to determine the level of microbial contamination in the shallow wells, also to analyze the physical-chemical parameters in water, and also to establish the relationship between the shallow well water contamination and the distance of the wells from the nearby pit latrines. I collected data from 62 shallow wells in the 5 zones of Moiben sub-county. Stratified sampling technique was utilized in proportional sampling of the wells. Laboratory analysis was conducted to measure the microbial and also the physical parameters. My data was analyzed inferentially through ANOVA. Microbial contamination was quantified using the most probable number technique. The results, there is significant correlation between the distance from the well and the microbial contamination, where the p-value was less than 0.01, and we know that when the p-value is less than 0.05, it means that this is statistically significant. 72.8% of microbial contamination by the distance. Also, 98.7% of physical-chemical parameter contamination was accounted for the distance. So in the discussion, as the distance increases, the contamination tends to decrease. So increasing the distance from contamination sources significantly reduces the microbial contamination. Also, distance is overwhelmingly dominant in determining the physical-chemical. Also to reduce the levels of nitrate infiltration. Thank you.
Let's appreciate Leah. And at that point, don't go away, just sit somewhere near here, because we want to get some questions to the presenters who have done these, the 3 of them. At least we have a PowerPoint. The next group will use the PowerPoint. Brenda, Victor, and Leah, people are going to ask you questions. Do you have questions from the audience? Comment? Yes, please. Can someone take the microphone around? Say your name and who your question is directed to.
Thank you. I'm Madeka Rosemary. My question is grey water, and you are removing the contaminants. How did you determine the efficiency of the biochar? Did you characterize the grey water? That is my first question. Then You talked about activating the biochar. You said one you activated, the other one was not activated.
Yes.
You activated the biochar.
Yes.
Okay. Then the next question is on temperature for the pyrolysis. It was at 500
degrees for 3 hours.
Anyway, let me leave that one. But about the characterization of the grey water, since you are testing the efficiency of this char, did you characterize the grey water before you passed it through the char? Because that is what will tell you how efficient the biochar is in removing the contaminants.
Yes, so I measured the amount of the impurities before filtration, and then I measured the amount of the impurities after the filtration. Then I calculated the efficiency, initial concentration minus the final concentration. I have some tables, but now showing the efficiency calculation.
Okay, if you did it that way, then it is okay. But if you did not characterize the grey water, there is no way you can get the efficiency of the biochar performance in cleaning the grey water. Then the next question I have to you is car wash water grey water. Is car wash wastewater grey water?
It is grey water.
Sure.
Yes.
Please check on your literature, because if you look at the car wash, we have contaminants from petroleum. When you add petroleum, you add the aspect of heavy metals.
Yes.
And that one, it does not lie in that category.
Okay, I'll do more research.
Just go to literature. Basically, grey water is from kitchen and from the washroom. When you bring the issue of petroleum products, because of the aspect of heavy metals, it doesn't lie in that category. Then for the heavy metals, which method of analysis did you use? You have talked about lead and...
I used the AAS, atomic adsorption spectrometer.
Okay, thank you.
Any question still to Victor, just before you leave the stage?
Mine is just to add on what Madam has said. According to me, car wash water is grey water, but industrial grey water. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Humphrey. My question is to Brenda. Brenda, you mentioned a bit of people who are not eager to use the public washroom, and you mentioned how there was mismanagement and not very clean. We have a tendency in Kenya to throw such things to the private sector. Now, for it to be optimized, are there laws that are in place that prevent the privatization of public toilets? Is it something that can be explored? And do you think this is going to make them more accessible and people to be more comfortable using them?
Thank you. Just to answer your question, there's, especially in Nairobi, not really privatization per se, but there's different small community groups that have been given management of a few public toilets. So there are those that are managed by the county government, but there are a few that have been given to a few youths to manage and just to earn a living from it. So if you're talking about public-private partnerships, that is also ongoing. You've seen a lot of investment in different type of toilets, like the eco toilets. Part of my recommendation is to have a clear path of PPPs just to ensure inclusivity. Yeah.
Might you, by any chance, have compared Might you have any chance compared the attitudes while from toilets that are managed by the public or toilets that are managed by the such groups or private public partnerships?
My study was specific on public toilets that are managed by the county government. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions for me?
Yeah, a question for Brenda. Stage.
Okay.
Yes. You can shout. She's very near to you.
Yeah. My name is Jeffrey. I wanted to also get something about the numbers. As far as the standard, the ratio, the available toilets to the population. What are the numbers like, and what are the numbers required for this, so that then we see, because maybe that could be the major problem, because you have plenty people lining up one thing, they're not getting the same data or exception. So did you also what was vis-a-vis the standards? What does the standard say? One toilet, how many the population in Nairobi?
Okay. So the daily population is 500,000 people in Nairobi, and there are only 18 public toilets in the city. Definitely there are other private ones in buildings, in different locations. I was measuring more on the public toilets. So comparing, like, let's say 500,000 to 18 public toilets, the ratios are quite low. As in, that mathematic is quite disturbing. I'll confirm on the laws and what the exact ratio needs to be, but basically from that, you can clearly see it's quite small.
So per day, how many people are visiting? Did you take the traffic data?
I did, and I probably need to check, but I wasn't able to present. I could have presented better the results from here. I got like a specific percentage of how many people use them daily, and what, okay, if people are using them frequently, once in a while, out of emergencies. So yeah, I have that data. Yeah. Okay. Yes?
Thank you, Beverly. I
Yeah.
have a question.
Okay.
Because I'm in technology, I'm so interested to know the area that you carried your study. Did you find smart toilet systems?
On these public toilets, no, there weren't any smart toilet systems.
So how are you then monitoring the traffic? Are you having somebody at the door counting?
So as I had explained on my slides, we were interviewing adults 18 years and above, and these are people who are seen going in and coming out of the toilet facilities.
Also, you don't have the actual data of the users per day that use the, other than those that only you are interviewing. You see, you're only interested with a portion of people that you are interested with.
Yeah.
Because I think what you wanted to know is the traffic. You see, if you're talking about a traffic of people using the public toilet, and then maybe I link with what he talked about, private vis-a-vis public, because that would now guide us to know some people are not interested in using public toilet. We have more traffic to those that are going to private, and that's why I was interested to know, was it being done manually? Do we have a smart toilet system somewhere that is counting the traffic of people coming in?
No,
and if it is
basically
not
manual.
there, then that should be your recommendation.
Okay, thank you.
To add on that, I would like to ask on issue of sanitation, the toilets. Was it that people do not access toilet because they are not clean? Were you able to measure that component? Because people would not go to a toilet that is not clean. People would like to visit a place that is clean. How were you able to see that?
Yes, so basically, we're trying to find out what hinders accessibility. The infrastructure is there. As much as it might not be enough, the infrastructures do exist. But what is these 1, 2, 3 things that are hindering accessibility? So as you're saying, there are hygienic conditions. There's the issue of paying. Not everyone can afford to pay 5, 10, 20 shillings to access a toilet. If you're having a family of, let's say, 7 people, how much is that? Yeah, so basically that is what we're looking into. What really hinders accessibility?
With that, Fred, I'm wondering, socio-cultural setup of people coming from different areas and setup, might it be a factor also? And even gender?
Yeah, those are factors that have been highlighted.
Oh, so you have that in
yes,
your...
yes,
okay.
yes.
Okay.
There's the issue of gender. There's
It's unfortunate we've not seen all this. This paper is so interesting.
To add
Yeah.
And you just you have told us that some of the people are unable to pay.
Yeah.
My question is, can you use the amount collected per day to determine the traffic of people entering that toilet?
Come again?
Can you use the amount collected by that particular individual in that particular public toilet to determine the number of people who have accessed that toilet? So that now, for instance, let's say to enter the public toilet is 10 shillings. And in a single day, I have, let's say, 1,000 shillings. So 1,000 divided by 10, you can determine that how many number of people have entered this particular public toilet as compared to the other one. Can you use that data also on your to be an advantage on your side?
Yes and no.
Can you explain further?
Yes, in terms of how you're calculating it, 1,000 divided by 10, you'll roughly say 100 people visited that particular toilet. But we do understand that there are other special circumstances, especially for the vulnerable, the ones who've said cannot afford that. At times, they might go and bargain and just request to use the facilities. If that does not work, they'll definitely go and open defecate somewhere. So, 50-50.
I will. So.
Hi, Brenda.
Hi.
My concern is you concentrated on people from 18 and above.
Adults.
And probably you could maybe have had more children accessing the service, but you did not capture it in your research. Maybe you could not have a consent of asking the question, but you could have at least a section. You could have noted the number of children or people you could not have had the chance to ask the questions.
Okay.
Which
noted.
also counts. It's a service that also needed for the children.
I'll check on that.
As I understand, Nairobi is characterized by on-peaks and off-peaks. Did you choose off-peak or on-peak in doing your study? And I'm concerned, for how long did you monitor the toilet you monitored?
So I did both. The selection was on high traffic areas, railways, Latema, Accra, and forgetting the next
time,
one.
In terms of time.
In terms of what?
Time.
What about time?
At what time did you conduct the study?
Both off-peak, on-peak and off-peak.
Okay.
Yeah. Because these are high foot traffic areas.
I think we can get Brenda to rest. Had enough there. Let's clap for her. This means that your research generates a lot of interest, so listen keenly to what the people have asked, and allow us to go to the next three presenters. Do we have Julius Karimi? No, not Julius, sorry. This is Manason. Yes, please, come. Do you have your presentation? I think this PowerPoint is working. You have, eh? Please, the stage is yours. Note your questions so that when we come to ask questions, it will be easy for you to...
Julius Kirimi, are you around? Julius? Gitonga? Oh, you're there. Thank you. So, yeah. The stage is yours. You will be the next Gitonga.
Thank you. To the moderators and colleagues, good afternoon. I'm here to present the research that I'm working on. Yet to get the results. I'm still not in the stage of getting the results because it's an ongoing research. So my research is on an AI-driven circular economy model for e-waste sorting. Majorly I'm targeting the public institutions because that's where and more e-waste is generated. I'll be incorporating XAI and adaptive learning. My co-authors is Professor Mamo, Emerson Mamo, and Dr. Samson Munialo. The background of my study that will be basic of my introduction. In the day we are living in, we have quite a number of technologies that are coming in. They are helping us to achieve a number of things, but again, they're leaving us with a lot of unsolved problem. That's generation of e-waste. And maybe somebody is worried what is e-waste. These are waste that are originated from electrical and electronic equipment. So globally, we have a statistic of 53.6 million tons, which is generated. This data was given in 2020. But only out of that, only 17% is recycled. So you can calculate the rest of percentage where they were disposed and how they were managed. In Kenya alone, we have 51,000 tons annually. I checked also, maybe in Meru, we generate 10 tons per day. So that is from public institution. This one is due to poor public awareness and disposal practices. We have a lot of e-waste which are out there unmanaged. And the reason why this is an interested area is because whatever the components of the electronic waste, some are hazardous and some can be again recycled to bring out some much more better and quality resources. So traditional sorting is very slow and unsafe because I've mentioned the aspect of hazardous component in those particular components. And yes, there are technologies that are allowing this to be done, but there are some of the niches that we need to address. That's the reason why I'm working on this. So the existing AI models, we have what we call black box. In layman's language, black box is where the category or sorting is done, but there's no reasoning behind it. That's now what is black box. And then it is so static in that when a new technology will come, you have to train again your model to get that new technology is when you deploy it. So there's no real-time learning and transparent decision, and transgap is created between the stakeholders just because there's no reason you're giving behind your sorting criteria. So we really need adaptive and explainable AI solutions. That's what I'm working on. The main objective that I have is to just design a circular economy-driven AI model for e-waste management. Basically, I've talked of sorting, and this will be enabled by continual learning to optimize accuracy and adaptivity, and also the operation transparency. I'll need to evaluate the existing AI, which I've already done, and I need to also develop XAI-based that is explainable AI-based e-waste sorting framework or model. I'll need to integrate the adaptive learning and dynamic classification, and also to assess the accuracy of the model that I'll work on. That's just a research questions based on the whatever I've done in the objective. This is a bit of literature and actually the outcomes of the existing models. I'll start with the deductive, where I'll get the circular economy and adaptive learning, derive hypothesis, and also test via experiment. So the main methodology that I'll use is experimental. I'll have maybe a data set of 500 images to train my model, and then after that I'll launch it. I'll perform my analysis using F1 score, and the human factor, because I have the trust factor with the stakeholder, I'll also use the SEQ scales to just find the observation of others on the current existing models. I think that's the end of my presentation. It was that short.
Thank you. Let's clap for him. Kitonga, it's your stage, please. Have a seat. Is Margaret in the room? Yeah, you'll be next after him. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Now, I'm here to present a research on enhanced security monitoring in Internet of Things system through intrusion detection model, and I am Gitonga Joseph, under the sub-theme Digital Transformation and the Technological Innovations for Community Empowerment. My co-researchers are Professor Amos Omamo and Dr. Amos Chege. I have outlined items that I have to go through, background of the study and all that. A small background is the current world today. We are talking about IoTs, that is Internet of Things, which is a field that we have realized they are rapidly growing. And by 2020, which by research was indicating then, as documented by Ashaf, it was pointed out that around 50 billion IoT devices were to be in use by then. So today we are 2020. It means then they are far way above that. Now, Internet of Things hold critical user data. We understand that. And the area of research now comes in trying to mitigate the effect of intrusion when it comes to these anonymous devices, that we are realizing they are holding a lot of information for the users. What is the problem? IoTs, they are devices, yes, anonymous as they are, but then very compromised in terms of resources. They are not able to match the current INDSs that are in the market, which are very resource intensive. Also, you realize that IoTs work on different protocols. Also, the INDSs in the market, they used odds rather than data sets that do not capture the areas of IoTs. The objective is to be able to develop an intrusion detection model for real-time monitoring and to enhance security for IoT devices. Specific objectives to do a literature regarding the IoTs, to develop the intrusion model and use the validation metrics to assess the accuracy. I've done literature review regarding the different IDSs that are in the market, and I have stipulated them there with the gaps that they hold. I've used an approach of the funnel approach where I've taken largely the scenario from the global perspective application of the machine learning and INDSs, downgraded it to the regional context on cybersecurity challenges and the regulatory requirements that are supposed to be in place. And of course, the local spectra, like in our setup, the university, to the work done by researchers like us in regard to mitigating security when it comes to IoTs. The research gaps, I've seen the IoTs have their protocols, which are largely not captured in the development of the model, right from the IoT the deployment of the intrusion detection, the evaluation of if there is a threat. If there is a threat, then a security team is alerted, and then this involves them to effect some rules on the firewall. And if none, definitely the same traffic is routed to the firewall, but this time for the purposes of log analysis. I've used basically Python, which is anchored on PyCharm, and those are some of the libraries that I've used. This is an interface of how the model is to interact to the network admins. Here we have the performance of the same situation there, and then I have the confusion matrix illustrated regarding the performance of the system. The normalization there, I've used different performance metric, accuracy, precision, recall, F1, and receiver operating characteristic area under the curve as some of the metrics. That is just the same physical illustration of the same performance. Recommendation is the standard recommends that this model be adopted as a package which can be brought in just like in other packages in a firewall, like the PFSense, to be able to bring in that contribution on intrusion and detection of the intrusion within the network. Also, I'm saying that the model can be used to monitor network traffic for malicious activities, unauthorized access attempts, or suspicious behavior, help you identify security threats before they cause harm. Also, another recommendation is that the market players, like the community authority, the communications authority that are interested in detecting or giving reports regarding the intrusions, they can be able to adopt such a solution. Also, the cybersecurity team can be able to use the same to mitigate or to ensure that their traffic is clean. The standard contributes setup is developed is used in the development of the model, can be used for other to further explore performance of other classification.
Kindly conclude.
And in conclusion, this was developed, trained and evaluated an intrusion detection model for enhanced security using artificial neural network, and the accuracy was 97.8%. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let us appreciate him. You have kept time, so we request for the interest of time, we listen to the other two presenters so that we can take the questions together. So, Margaret, are you here? Oh, she's there. Then we have Eugene preparing. Eugene, are you around? Good. And then finally, Wairimu Njoroge. Yes. So we listen to the presenters 10 minutes each. Then we have question and answer at the same time so that we can conclude early. Good. Margaret, please confine yourself within 10 minutes so that we can save time. Yeah.
Good morning. Good afternoon. All protocols observed. My name is Margaret Sunguti, and my co-authors are Dr. Mary Amatu and Dr. Renita Sumba. Today I'm going to present on influence of water, sanitation, and hygiene practices on diarrheal diseases in children under 5 years of age in Westland Sub-County, Nairobi County. Globally, SDG 6.1 and 6.2 aims for universal access to safe water and sanitation by 2030. Poor wash conditions contribute to 62% of diarrhea-related deaths among children under 5 years. 1.7 billion diarrhea cases annually are reported, leading to 505,000 deaths in under 5 years. Kenya's poor wash conditions are attributed to water scarcity, frequent droughts, poor sanitation infrastructure, unsafe drinking water, poor hygiene, inadequate sanitation are responsible for 60% of diarrhea-related deaths. Caregivers' practices like hand washing with soap and clean water and clean running water reduces diarrhea risk by 40%, and improved safe water supply is associated with reduction in diarrhea incidences by about a half, and decrease in deaths due to diarrhea by half. The main objective of this study is to investigate the influence of water, sanitation, and hygiene practices on diarrhea diseases in children under 5 in Westland Sub-County, Nairobi County. The specific objectives are to assess water treatment practices, sanitation practices, hygiene practices, and to assess the influence of health education in prevention of diarrhea diseases in children under 5 years of age in Westland Sub-County, Nairobi County. This study is going to answer the following questions on water treatment practices, on sanitation practices, hygiene practices, and the influence of health education in prevention of diarrhea diseases in children under 5 years in Westland Sub-County. Globally, poor wash practices contribute to childhood morbidity and mortality, with 88% of diarrhea-related deaths linked to inadequate water, sanitation, and hygiene conditions. Only 70% of households had safely managed drinking water in 2020, and just 54% had access to safe sanitation in 2023. Rural caregivers face the greatest water, sanitation, and hygiene challenges. Hand washing can reduce childhood diarrheas by 40%, yet adherence remains low due to water scarcity, cultural norms, and lack of education. South Asia and Sub-Saharan Africa bear the highest poor water and sanitation and hygiene burden, of which in Kenya, only 59% of households had basic drinking water in 2020, with urban informal settlements like Westland Sub-County experiencing severe sanitation challenges, limited water supply, poor personal hygiene, inadequate wastewater management, poor sanitation, and In Kenya, nearly 1.5 million cases of acute diarrhea was reported among children under the age of 5, and Nairobi accounted for 136,028 cases of diarrhea, with Westlands reporting 14,366 cases of diarrhea between July 2023 and June 2024, which accounted for the highest among the 17 sub-counties in Nairobi County. Safe water access reduces diarrhea incidences by 20% and related deaths by 50%. However, there is limited data on water, sanitation, and hygiene practices of caregivers of children under 5 in Westland sub-county. This study is going to align with SDG 3, SDG 6, and SDG 1, and also SDG 4. It is going also to make sure that it fills the knowledge gaps, and provide a basis for further research. Also, it's going to give us a data-driven decision-making for better resource allocation and disease reduction. And also, it is going to empower caregivers and promote behavior change for improved child health. This study will employ a cross-sectional descriptive method with convergent mixed approach, that is the quantitative and qualitative methods. The study area will be Westlands sub-county, which has a population of 308,854 according to 2019 census. Also in Westlands, as I've just alluded, 14,366 cases of diarrhea were reported. And mark you, Westlands is an affluent, and as an affluent population and slum areas. My population, the target population for this study will be caregivers of under 5 in Westland sub-county. The study also is going to use stratified random sampling, whereby the wards will be my stratas and then followed by random selection. A sample of 375 was reached at using the formula of Kochland formula at 95% confidence level. Data correction and data analysis will use quantitative and qualitative methods. This study is limited to self-reporting biases, seasonal water and sanitation hygiene practice variations, socioeconomic beliefs and influences. And finally, the approval to go and correct my data will be sought from Meru University Ethics and Review Committee, and research clearance will be sought from NACOSTI, Nairobi County Health, Education Authorities, and informed consent will be sought from the participants. Thank you very much, and may God bless you.
Let us appreciate him. Thank you very much, Margaret, for keeping time. If we continue like that, I think we will finish in time. Next, Eugene. Just like Margaret, also spend your exactly 10 minutes, please, so that we can take questions and answer later.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Eugene Masharia. I'm a research assistant here at Mary University, working under the supervision of Dr. Daniel Maitethia. So I'll be presenting a robust number plate recognition system using YOLO V10 and PADO OCR under simulated advanced weather conditions. So this is a traffic surveillance system. In my outline, I will have the introduction, the problem statement, objectives, literature review, methodology, results, discussions, and finally the conclusions. So basically, our traffic systems have been affected by advanced weather conditions, and therefore there was need to do a research on how we can curb these situations. So many researchers have done this, and we have reviewed many papers concerning these issues, and they have come up with so many ways on doing the image processing and enhancing this denoising stuff so that we can have a good system. So our gap is most of the systems have not yet been deployed. So meaning we could have the results, but we don't have the system being tested on the real world situations. So there was a need to propose one, of course, and a lightweight model, and the one and the one that is cost effective in a way. So we decided to use YOLO V10. It's a you only look once model, and a PADO OCR for extractions of the number plate. Well, a YOLO model is for detections purposes, the one that will help us in determining the location of the number plate or localizing the number plate. And you can see is we have its segmentation like this. So this is what YOLO will enable us in this project. And for the PADO OCR is that it will enable us to extract these digits. Like for example, if you are given a word state, we can have the output of the word state. So in our case, we'll have the number plates and its reading. So the problem statement is that we needed to have a system deployed in real world scenarios so that we can truly attest to, yes, the systems are not working, or test these processing tactics in our real world scenario. So main objective was to develop a number plate robust system using the YOLO model and the PADO OCR. In our specific objectives was to train this YOLO model to locate the number plates and to integrate the PADO OCR for character recognition, and then test this model under adverse weather conditions such as rain, mud, and fog. And also there was need to evaluate some OCRs to see how they perform so that you can select the best OCR to use. So in our literature review is that many people have done these projects and many people have done this traffic system, and they have tried to come up with these solutions, and so far solutions we have them, but still we have no proof of how the system is working on real world scenario. So if you use these scenarios, if you use these tactics to solve our problem, then we could have a robust system, maybe deployed in our rural areas, urban areas, and so forth. So in our methodology is that we needed to have these data sets, of course, the vehicles images, and then annotate them in one or the other, and then train a model. You can see in our step 3 is we have to put the model images in our model, and then train it, and to the last part where we have our model learning these features, the one that we want it to locate, and then giving us an output. In our scenario, the number plate can be able to locate our number plate. For the PADO OCR is that after we have now this segmented, the number plate segmented area, then we take it to our OCR for reading. Like we have the final output, as you can see, from the AR436M. This is the workflow of the OCR, the PADO OCR to be more specific. It does some text detections. It tries to recognize the text, and then it gives an output of what it has recognized. So in our methodology is that we needed to test this system in some advanced weather conditions. So it was hard to have those images in real life scenarios. We had to, one way or the other, simulate them using our code so that we can have them can have similar inputs like we have in real world scenarios. So in our case, we can have the clear conditions, the foggy conditions, the rainy conditions, and the muddy conditions. How we did this is we simulated using Python codes. We tried to bring this effect of a foggy condition, as you can see, by inputting a white veil and to try to defocus the image so that we can see if our model can work if given this scenario. In our case, another case is our rainy. We tried to denoise it to bring out a storm effect. And in our case is muddy conditions where we try to smear some dirt to see if we give our OCR, if it can read. So after training our model, yes, these are the results. You can see we obtained an accuracy of 93.38%, which was quite good, and a precision of 94.18%, which means the ability of a machine to detect the true positives in our images. We had a record of 98.29, so we gave it 1,200 images, and you can see out of the 1,200 images, it was able to detect the 1,100 images, so enabling our recall to be a bit high. Our F1 score was 96.47%. So after testing our model in these scenarios, this is how the YOLO model functioned. So it gave us a 98.99% accuracy in our clear conditions, meaning it could be able to detect clearly under these conditions. In our rainy, it gave us the same 98.99%. In our foggy, it was a bit down a bit to 92.93%, and in our muddy to 96.97%, which means that this YOLO model can be robust if used and trained further. In our PAD OCR, in comparisons with the Easy OCR and the Tesseract, we had the PAD OCR outdoing all of them, giving us at least a 50% accuracy across the weather conditions that we tested. We have our PAD OCR performing the best, so meaning that our choice will be the PAD OCR and advance it to further conditions so that we can have at least a 90% and upwards. In our discussion is that if these two systems or models are used, then we can have a robust system and utilize in our rural roads so that we can have a robust system and we can try to monitor our traffic. And our conclusion is that they performed quite well reliably, and in further training, then we'll have a robust system that will be deployed countrywide. Thank you.
Let us appreciate him. Thank you. Thank you very much, Eugene. Finally, let's have Bernadette.
So good afternoon, everyone. It doesn't affect the is the pastoral way of life of the Maasais. They prioritize their livestock over, preserving water for human consumption. So that can lead to contamination when they take their livestock to water sources to drink directly from there. The main objective of the study is to assess the relationship between these practices and the bacteriological quality of water. The specific objectives was to assess the sanitation and hygiene practices, then to analyze the quality of drinking water, that is at source and also at household level, and then to examine now the relationship between these two factors, how the practices are affecting the quality of drinking water. I have a conceptual framework here on the, I don't know if this is my right or your left. For the independent variables, I was looking at the practices and perception, that is the hand washing, waste disposal practices, and the traditional beliefs of this community. Then I was also testing the quality of water at source. I was relating, or rather I was checking whether all data could be collected from one point. So this design is appropriate for generating a snapshot of current conditions by analyzing multiple variables related to water quality and household characteristics at a single point in time. So this community, the Kajiado West sub-county, it has a number of wards, and they are conventional households and those ones that are not conventional. The non-conventional are like now the staff quarters. So the focus of this study was only on the conventional ones, which were 42,774. I used the Yamane's formula to come up with my sample size, which gave me about 100, it was 99.75, so I settled for 100 households. Those were the households where we visited to carry out the data collection. There was a structured questionnaire which had sections. The first section was mostly on checking the practices, and then the other one was on water storage, collection, and then finally sampling of the water, testing of the water in the lab. So upon collecting the data in a Google form which was in the phone, this data was saved as a CSV file and analyzed using the R software. And then the non-parametric tests were conducted using those, the Wilco, let me not pronounce, at a confidence level of 95%. So I have already done the data collection. I'm at the level of analyzing. So preliminarily, I can say that the results indicate that sanitation and hygiene practices, along with water storage and treatment, account for 10.4% of variation in drinking water quality, as shown by an R square of 0.104. So for the practices and the perception, especially at household level, that can majorly influence the quality of water. If it is treated, then the quality will distribution across the 18 villages of the Kajiado West was uneven. The household contamination is the major risk factor, and the hygiene, education, and safe storage are critical. So, since the data can show which villages are having very poor quality of water, then it is possible to give them attention, especially the Namilok and Maroroi villages. Asanteni.
The last 5 people who have presented, since she's on the stage, she can take the privilege, take the first questions from people.
Thank you for the nice presentation. I have 3 questions. You have rightly assessed the relationship that exists in between sanitation practices and the quality of water. And there is no doubt that obviously there is a lot of relationship. The question is, after we've seen these relationships, and where does the to households to ensure that studies have always shown that there is a relationship, but you have also said water can be good from source, but it is contaminated in the house when it is in storage. So how does this study assist in bringing this awareness? Now, question number 2 is the cost of having safe drinking water. The cost of ensuring there is safe drinking water is where there is a concern, because it seems that the only safe drinking water we have is the bottled water that I'm seeing on this table, is it? Because it has been processed and it is been put in the containers and safe for drinking. We take it with 100% surety that it is safe. But all the other water, be it potable water in the taps and in our city council, in MEWAS, does not seem to be safe after all. So how do we ensure that, and to keep the water safe, there is a cost involved. So how do we ensure that we cater for this cost to the entire population so that they also get safe drinking water? Because that is where there is a problem, really. And people are not taking safe water. And because they cannot afford the infrastructure, the treatment that is involved, the storage and all that. And unless they are able to afford this, they will continue taking unsafe water. So how do we lower these costs and ensure that then we have everybody enjoying clean water? in our own states. Thank you.
Thank you for those questions. I'll start with the last one on how do we lower the cost of treating water. One of the observations that I made as I went across the sub-county of Kajiado, the Kajiado West sub-county, is that they don't have piped water. Most of them rely on what I would call, I don't know if I should use the word decentralized, but you find there's a borehole, then there are a number of families get their water from there, then there's a water pan somewhere, there's a dam, and of course a few families do rainwater harvesting. I observed that the major or the common way of treating is boiling. I think boiling is affordable by most people, because it's just about putting water in a sufuria and then you let it boil. And then I think that would, to a great extent, assure safety. The other recommendation, of course, would be to have a centralized way of treating the water, but then that would apply if already the infrastructure was there. I'm ruling that out because I didn't see a water service provider in the area, so people are left with no much option than to just tap into the most affordable method, which is to boil. The other one is about responsibility. So after the research, after the findings, and after demonstrating or after actually verifying that there's a relationship, then how will the households know? How will the households take responsibility? This question, I also got it from the DCC because I started from the Deputy Commissioner's office, who gave me the people to take me around, and they asked that we make sure they get the report, they get the findings, so that in one way or another, they can have this information getting to the right people instead of just having it for my academic use and then it ends there. So I believe once it gets to the authorities, then they would be able to make some decisions, like if it is to do sensitization or whatever measures may need to be taken. Yeah.
Thank you for the good presentation. I have two questions. One is, you are talking about sanitation practices. So was menstrual hygiene part of it during your work? Then the second one was, you are talking about contamination, and you have said that it was high at the residential area. As in, once they bring the water, when they were using it, it had high contamination than from the source. So my question is, you have also said that there are people who are doing rainwater harvesting. Did you characterize the rainwater harvested and the other one which is from the borehole or from the water pan, and see the one which was at a high level of contamination? Thank you.
Thank you. So on menstrual hygiene, I left that out. The community is a bit sensitive. Actually, I had to do a lot of modifications as I went around data collection. So we didn't go into that. The second question on, I've forgotten, what was it?
Characterization of different water.
Yes. I have characterized, I just felt like the slides would be too many. Borehole water comes across as the safest in terms of bacteriological quality. It didn't have a lot of issues. For rainwater, they harvest using the iron sheets, then it goes to a plastic tank. I was interested, so in this case I was treating the tank as the source. And then the one in the small jerry can where now they fetch directly to drink, I was treating that as what is now ready for drinking, and then I would do a comparison of the quality of the two. And it turned out that in a few cases, the one in the tank was okay, but then the one that has been handled a lot as they were fetching maybe from that open container, the comparison of the two, the one in the container from where they fetch, the quality was lower. So I attributed that mostly to just the handling, the handling aspect of maybe somebody didn't clean their hands and then they dipped the container and another person came and picked it, yeah.
More question for Benedict? We allow him to sit down. had Gitonga, we had Eugene, and we had Manason. Those questions. And Margaret, the questions that you have for them? Or people have switched off to lunch?
Thank you so much. I would like to direct my question to Manason. And Manason, I don't know, but in your opening, in your background, you mentioned about 51 tons annually in Kenya, and Meru had 10 tons daily. I could not make up that mathematics because, or what was it? But that time, what was it? Was it 10 tons in Meru?
Sorry, it was a typo. It was not daily. Sorry for that.
Thank you, because I was wondering, you cannot have 51 and then 10 daily. Thank you.
Yes, I'm sorry for that. That was a typo.
I have a question for Manason. Manason, when it comes to developing countries like Kenya, where I think this is the time most of policies are being enacted, I don't know if you came across any policy on e-waste management.
Yeah, I did, but it's not yet been placed as a law, but it's yet to be implemented.
So it's not yet an act?
Yeah.
So since now it's not an act, and you're doing your research on e-waste, what would be your recommendation in terms of the ethical part, where, and of course, the sustainability of the e-waste management, and specifically when you're using AI?
It's a challenge, I accept, but I think in the next few years it will be a law. because it has turned to be a challenge, and even in our collection points where we collect solid waste, already we have segregations, we have different collection point even for the normal solid waste. But you find in those normal disposal of waste, you find even the electronic waste are being disposed in those solid waste. So you find it even become more hazardous when they are mixed up. So I think this one will push our government even to act very fast towards enacting it to be a law.
And maybe one of the other things that I would recommend, since you're still doing your research, to go and look at is what would be the security aspect in terms of the disposal of the e-waste. And specifically, you know, the way people use a phone, once it's very slow, there's a new one, you dispose the old one, forgetting to get out of your personal data. And this is something that you just throw in the bin, then somebody corrects it, then now when it goes to hands of hackers, what would happen? So as you do your research, I will be expecting, the good thing is I'm here with you to see what you do about that.
Okay, thank you.
I have one to you. I didn't get quite what your model is doing. Maybe you can explain for the benefit of all of us. What exactly does it do if I have computers that I want to sort? What does it look at? And then what is that it does in the sorting? What decisions are made? What decisions are we expecting to be made? So that is very clear. I didn't get what your model is doing. So if I have a room full of computers, how does your model sort? And what is that it's looking at, the criteria? I saw you are using images. Does it mean it scans the image? Then what does it do? Please assist me understand.
Thank you. We have different kinds of electronic waste. We've just talked of phone. We have laptops. We have the PCs. We have refrigerators, actually. We have other gadgets at home that are being used. They are electrical and electronic. Once you stop using them, they become waste. And this model, because we are working so that we don't lose much, we do what we call recycling. Recycling becomes hard when everything has been brought together. So the model is just to help in sorting which part, because this laptop is made of several parts. There are parts which are plastic, there are parts which are metal, there are parts which are, I've talked of, hazardous, and there are parts which are precious metal that we can preserve and use them. So instead of going underground to mine, we can actually mine from the electrical and the gadgets which we have. So my model will, after you've collected the waste, will segregate or sort. These are plastic, these are metal, this very hazardous component, and this one is, how do you call it? This is another component that can help maybe to be used in a different thing or to make a different thing. So my model is just sorting the different components of the electronic waste. I don't know whether I've answered your question.
In simple terms,
yes.
Who is going to use your model? That's the question he's asking.
The recycler.
And how?
The recyclers.
Yeah, say that and you've helped him. You know, when you say a lot of things, sometimes people don't even know what you're saying.
Okay.
Yeah?
So there are those who are recycling the electronic waste. So they will be using the model to help them sort before the recycling.
Just to follow up on what you are saying.
Yes, please.
You need to think about, will you be having some sensors in your model, such that the model that is there is able to get and be able to...
Yeah.
The hardware aspect.
Yes, please.
Also, before we simulate the software model, will we be having an hardware that is able to be installed in the software to assist us now test the model that you have?
Yes.
Okay. Then you'll be safe.
Like a robot now?
Yeah, like a robot.
Yeah.
Big plastic and also tell these aluminum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's wait. All the best.
This side, you know, they seem these are the only people who are awake. It seems you are quite asleep here. Yes, please.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm just asking, is your model only focused on recycling, or can it catch it before it becomes waste? For example, the phones that we have right now, in the past we had the removable batteries, but right now they decided that instead of someone having 3 or 4 batteries that they are not mostly using, they decided to have the non-removable batteries. Can your model do that, or is it only focused on recycling?
I'm focused on waste.
The waste?
Yes.
Can you shout? Just shout. Yeah, please, stand and shout.
So, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My question is, how are you going to obtain these e-waste? For instance, you walk around in the locality and you find there is a school there, it has 300 computers. Or for instance, Mary University of Science and Technology has 500 computers and they are trying to upgrade their system. For instance, they are not even using it anymore. So how are you going to get them? Are you going to buy them, or are you going to negotiate so that you are giving for free, or how are you going to get them? Because these are a lot of waste. You're talking about 50-something tons. These are very many. So how are you going to get them? That's my question.
In my research, I've only targeted of 500 images. So I'm dealing with images of those electronic waste. So there is available data set already that can provide that particular data that I need. So there is no need even of going around taking photos of the waste. I'll not buy them. That's the direct answer to you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your questions. They are going to help me improve in my studies.
Okay, thank you, Eugene, for that a good presentation. And as I was chatting with you here, you told me you are not a student in postgraduate. In fact, you're in undergraduate. And the work that you have done, to me, fits to be done by a postgraduate student. So if this work is not for your graduation, what is the end game after this? After years, you discover or you realize that your model can recognize number plates in harsh conditions compared to the rest. What is the end game? Or who will be a consumer of your product?
Well, for that scenario, I expect that if we have the model performing quite well in advanced conditions, I expect that this would create a business channel to most of, for me personally, I can make it used by the government so that you can try and manage the traffic in urban areas, or else I can, government also in doing the tolling. We have the car tolling, the electronic tolling, tolling collections, etc. in urban areas. Maybe the roads that need to be paid for, the system can be used in such scenarios, and also can maybe create more researches to the young ones and so forth. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a good system, it's a good innovation. I'm looking at, in Kenya, we have car registration, of course in NTSA, and how your system will be integrated to their database to assist, just to give you maybe more ideas on where this can be, because all cars are registered and all number plates. Is that something you plan that if it's integrated to the National Registration Bureau for cars, then it will be able to pick your recognition and even give more details of the car? If we are really interested in getting the real identification of the car, is it? That is number one. And of course, also understanding that in Kenya, we don't have deregistration of cars. In fact, this is one worrying area, that we have registration, but there is no car deregistration. That's why you will find most vehicles in the yards intact with their number plates, still intact. And nobody bothers to take back and deregister. So even criminals can actually use these wrong registration number plates to do criminal activities. So from the security point of view, integration of this to the registration and the deregistration will be really good to ensure that we are getting accurate number. Of course, my last question is, does it depend on the image you are taking? Does it depend on the distance from the camera or whatever? I'm assuming there is a camera, the car is passing there. How far the distance and all this, is this able to detect from your model? Were you able to, is it 100 meters, even up to 1 kilometer, or it has to be near 10 meters?
Okay, thank you. About the distance, is that research is yet ongoing. I have some assistants to help me in doing the research, but as we speak, how the model can detect is as far as 4 meters, a distance of 4 meters. That's how well our model can detect. So we still have the distance factor that we are still looking onto, so that you can have at least a bigger range for a model to expertise on those. In terms of registrations and security, we still thinking of having a database in search of, so that we can have our plates stored in a database or something, and then have the images captured as they are, maybe. So storage factors and a bit a problem, but yeah, we're still working on that and doing more research on how to curb those areas. But specifically for what I'm specialized on is having this system to work on these advanced conditions. About the security, yes, it's a future thought of, yeah.
Thank you, Eugene. I have seen, there are two instances where we have seen number plate system now currently being used. I think there is one in Nairobi where they have the AI-controlled traffic management system. And there is also a very smart system in Tatu City that not only manages the number plates, but also manages your speed when you're driving, and it is able to charge you in terms of overspeeding. So I was wondering, your system that is coming in, because of course you talked about weather. I don't know if you've compared with what like currently Tatu is using, because it's one of the smart systems that is in the country. And then, what is the ethical part that you want to capture my number plate and have it somewhere? If, or for example, it's not going to be used by NTSA and it runs in bad hands. And you remember in Kenya, number plate is, a car number plate is categorized as personal data that is captured because a car number plate is associated to an owner of the car. And now people are somewhere collecting data about cars, and then the ethical aspect and the security aspect. How safe will we be with your system, which is going to be even very accurate in terms bad weather and everything? How are you going to ensure it does not run to the bad people, where now they're able to track Dr. Zach and get him in his house? Thank you.
Well, that's a good question. About the number plate and its privacy, well, yeah, it was a great challenge as we collected the data. Capturing images, sometimes we were even harassed as something. Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. But what we did is to have the images is, first of all, we went to talk with the owner and try to explain how we are trying to do our thing. Yeah, somehow they trusted us and we managed to capture at least 1,200 images, so it was quite tough. Yeah. About the security and stuff, yeah, having the images in our database, yeah, sometimes we can have our personnel maybe corrupted in a way or the other, but that, to date, for me, what I can say is that having people, having it registered under the government, our country, still doesn't bring the security part of the number plate as such. But with time, I think the personnel that we need to train on the security stuff, or maybe have a database that maybe after some while it erases them, maybe or something of the sort. Yeah, we can try to look at that.
Yeah, maybe it's future work, you can think about it.
Yeah.
And then you can also think about how we use AI instead of having the actual number plate. You see, like the way Safaricom gives your number, and then it does not give you a full number. Yeah. So think about it such that the data, yes, is transmitted somewhere, but you see, like if my car is KBS, you don't see the full number.
Yeah, sure.
So if your system is able to do that, then I think you have addressed a percentage of the security aspect of the privacy.
Yeah, sure.
Mine is just maybe a small thought. We've seen people using fake number plates. Others are attaching some cello tip. So will the system be able to detect that's a fake number plate or something of the sort?
Well, so far that's a challenge. Sure, that's a challenge. If we don't have the correct number plate, well, then our system still won't be able to do it. Those are some areas that the system may tend to fail. Yeah, sure.
I think that can come in your future research. So that's quite answered. Eh?
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Eugene. Me, I want to bring on board Bwana Gitonga. Ako wapi Gitonga? Thank you so much, Bwana Gitonga. First of all, is to appreciate your work about enhanced security on IoT. I think it's quite an upcoming research. However, I would like you to explain preliminary on this IoT thing. How are you going to enhance this security when you talk about intrusion? Nowadays, you have even the motion intrusion. Does the IoT still going to factor that? Thank you.
Thank you. Intrusion can basically be explained as gain of access when you are not authorized. Now, when it comes to data traffic, there is the valid traffic, that is the normal data, and then there is the other data that is clogged or has been interfered with. So basically, the solution, the model, is to be able to separate the two between the normal traffic and the traffic that has malice in it. It's not in regard to the motion. The way I'm getting it, motion comes on the other solution of the CCTV and the like. Yes.
Thank you, Gitonga, for your good presentation. I'm wondering, because now this you've already done this research, what is the security trade-off involved in implementing your solution in a resource-constrained device?
Maybe you can put it more in.
What did you assume? What is a trade-off? You know, a trade-off is something that is a challenge, but you assumed it.
Oh, yes. I made an assumption that IoTs, they are diverse. They are actually many. And the assumption that I made is that the solution will be able to cut across the many diverse IoTs.
After making the assumption and the research that you did, was your assumption correct?
That's another level of research. Eh? Yes.
Maybe you can consider, because my interest was in terms of resource constrained. You know, IoTs differ in terms of their processing power, and at least it's good you said one of the assumption is you assumed all of them will be working the same way, and in terms of, and that is why now you looked at it in terms of intrusion to some level and some percentage. But you know, of course, I'm very sure the assumption is not true, because they don't. There are those that are very easily intruded. There are those that you take more resource power to intrude. So maybe in your future research, kindly, I'll look forward to seeing what you do get in terms of that assumption that you made.
That's very right. Thank you.
Maybe to add on what Dr. was questioning on, I was curious about the market standards that exist, like high EEE standards. Could that not be used to generalize maybe on the IDS that will be used on a certain target system?
Well, there are different IDSs in the market, and I don't feel they conflict with IEEE anywhere. because basically it's about that intrusion prevention. And again, the research is about enhancing. It's not geared to completely kind of say that this is 100% solution. So we keep on improving in regard to security, and especially when it comes to network and technology security. IEEE is partners and very endowed researchers in terms of engineering and technology, and I don't see any conflict when it comes to such a research. Thank you.
Maybe to get you Gitonga, it's necessary to know absolutely.
I will check that, Doc.
Shout the question while you bring that mic back here. If you can shout his question, bring that mic.
Okay, based on the research that you were finding, by 2020, over 50 million devices were connected to the globe. And another research was conducted showing that up to 2 to 3 devices were connected by one person. And with the increase in the technological levels and advancements, you may get that these devices by individual is increasing all the time. Said that within a year, somebody can have more than 3 devices connected. So how are you capturing these advancements in your research?
Thank you. That's a very wonderful question. The truth that the researcher also advocated is that that was by the documented literature by then. And the researcher accepted that the numbers is actually exploding. It is true even where we sit here, we have more than one device and which has connection. Now, the basic thing when it comes to identification of devices in a network, there is the information that each of the device provides. For instance, the MAC address. So there is none of the device that has got the same MAC address than the other, such that when this intrusion is detected, then it is going to be pegged to a specific device, regardless of how many the owner has at that particular time.
Thank you, Gitonga.
Thank you all for your questions also. Thank you.
Let us appreciate him. Colleagues, as you can see, our sugar levels have gone down. We need to go for lunch. So we are told that lunch is ready for all of us. So let's all go down to the cafeteria where our lunch will be served from. So all of us, presenters and the staff, we will line on the VIP section, and then there is a VVIP section, I'm told, for the guests, and maybe Zach and Rabotuas. So as a word of appreciation, I want to thank you very much. It has been a fruitful discussion. Our presenters, we really appreciate, we are grateful for the preparations that you made. To the rest of us, the audience, the questions, the remarks, the questions that we have asked, the clarifications that we have, the clarification that we have asked from the presenters. I want to thank you very much for that. And staff members, we really appreciate your presence. You have really assisted us, especially the student presenters who have presented their work here. You have criticized it boastfully, and they are going to do a better work. Rapporteurs and my colleague Zach, we really appreciate. So as we go down for lunch, remember we have the afternoon session where still it is us, computing and the School of Engineering, and the associated fields. We'll be back to here. We'll have presentations going on. So the place for lunch is the cafeteria, university cafeteria. Please, again, I'm informed that carry your bags, your laptops and everything, carry your belongings, because we don't have, in as much as this room will be closed, don't leave anything behind. Thank you very much. Enjoy your lunch. We will be back here at exactly 2:40.
I think Meru is actually one of the most important places in Kenya. I think it's one of the most important countries in the world because as we go forward, it's countries like Kenya that are resilient, that have the ability to with young populations, are going to become part of the second order of countries that, in a world that's been dominated by large powers and basically, coming after 500 years of European expansion, we were going to see a leveling off of this, and other countries, be it Kenya, be it Morocco, be it Malaysia, Indonesia, are going to play a more and more crucial part in finding solutions for the dilemmas that we are facing.
Years ago, based on land donated by the Meru People's National Governing Council, the Njorincheke. The university's mission highlights the challenges of preparing the nation's youth for prospering in a rapidly changing world while retaining the distinctive nations.
Unbetawa Moti Joka, with the Chairman Wakoban Jurincheke, then Karo Nchiru, Okuyambu and very well on to Wakanya, Kakwari Yamanto Yakomi, Public Relationship and Jury, na Mary University. Patu Akuban Jurincheke, Kuma Story, Rabbi, then Karoka Nchiru, Wakan 18, 42 AD, Totra na public where ikio ruare ke ya wutan kuma Meru College of Technology ya ruare always batu to kana ndia Meru University of Science and Technology to cooperate in many things batu ya kurban jurin cheke we do cooperate with them ukuluki la manta menge.
The Njorincheke remains active both as environmental monitor, a court for adjudicating disputes, and as the symbol of the Meru community's traditional of communal governance.
It's intentional in being the technology organization of choice, focused on being a powerhouse in science and technology.
Really very happy to welcome you.
Environment for innovation.
Over 15% for. And this university has also now come up with quite a number of things. The botanical gardens that is trying to bring up the cultural, among the many, many other things, are the things that we are doing in this university.